Hello and welcome to the Pitchside Studio. Here I am, Sikandar Bakht, along with me, Mike Hazeman and Basit Khan. So let's just recap. When we started this game, we were saying that Islamabad has to lose this big time for Quetta to have an opportunity, and that didn't happen. So Quetta is out, Karachi is also going home. We've got the 4-player teams that are going to the playoffs. We'll discuss that. But let me come to Mike Hazeman first, and let's just talk about this game. Slow, maybe the wicket, and Islamabad trying 6 new players. That's a mixed bag, you know.
I think if you look back at what happened with Islamabad today, I mean, we can't forget the fact that they obviously have lost all these players, and I understand that Sterling may well come back, and that'll be a big boost for them after his national duties. But the fact that they lost so many players through injury, through various reasons and whatever, and Shadab's still sitting on the sidelines, that has affected them badly. So, I mean, you've got to take that into consideration. Plus, they made so many changes as well. But to get the total of just 105 just wasn't good enough, and losing wickets just throughout the entire time, unfortunately, was frustrating for them. There's no doubt about it. So the track wasn't the quickest, but listen, I must admit, the Multan Sultans, I thought, played professionally. I thought Rizwan just played like he always has done. And I will say that I wish there were a couple of players in the game, the earlier game today, played like that. I mean, I'm still a little bit dirty on a couple of the guys that perhaps weren't as professional as I think they should have been. But Rizwan was outstanding. He was just really professional and made sure they got home and that sort of stuff and played nicely. But Islamabad decimated, really, and just weren't good enough today, simple as that. Disappointing.
We know about Islamabad losing players and then some of them going on national duty, but where do they actually stand now in the playoffs with these resources?
The way that they played the last 2 games, I don't think they have a great chance, considering the fact that they've lost so many players. But the style of cricket that they're playing, that doesn't suit Islamabad United at all. Islamabad United is all about being attacking. But for that attacking nature, you need those players. They desperately need players to come back. They desperately need Shadab to come back. They desperately need their overseas players to fill in those boots and make sure they're back to whatever level they were at the start of the tournament. Otherwise, you fancy that they won't be much of a threat in the playoffs.
And they've got to get Zishan back, but a good quality quick. I mean, that side strain can take a long time, so I don't know if we're going to see him again. We haven't heard any news about him either, because he looks really handy, and I agree with Baz. I mean, they're going to struggle, I think, the way they're going.
Okay. 29 games out of the way. Let's have a look at the points table. Where are we in terms of positions? Okay, so here we are. 10 games is the maximum you can play. So Multan, Quetta, and Karachi have done with their well, it's even Islamabad done with their 10. Tomorrow's the last game. So we know now who the playoff teams are. It's just about positioning them, and we'll also get to that. But yeah, Quetta and Karachi have actually exited HBL PSL 7. Now I'm going to show you the tree, which will lead us and tell us what the playoffs are going to be like. So there's a qualifier one. You win that, you go straight into the finals. Multan's there. And tomorrow's game will decide who's going to join them. And then you got the eliminator one. So Islamabad is confirmed, Mike.
Yep.
And they're waiting for who do they play.
Yep. So Multan, it's going to be Multan and Lahore. I'm sure that's going to be the case. Teams 1 and 2, and the winner of that goes straight through to the final. Then, of course, you've got who's Zalmi. Zalmi and Islamabad, and I'm presuming Islamabad, the way they're going at the moment, are probably going to fall out of the tree, pardon the pun. And then off to eliminator 2. So I think that Sultans will probably win and go through to the final, although I'll be surprised if Lahore do. I think that's going to be one extraordinary game. So let's say, in fact, I'm going to go with Lahore. There you go. Through to the final. Sultans are going to go through to that loser qualifier, which is eliminator 2. And that means that Zalmi are going to play against Sultan, in my book, in the middle there. And then I think you're going to find that
I thought you were going to give
Lahore is going to win in the end. There you go. That's what I'm saying.
It's just the trophy is going to be handed over. Just a quick one over there. So whatever you've done in the round games, 9 out of 10 Multan, that just goes out of the window now. Now it's about how you perform on that day in the playoffs.
Yeah, but now you've got two bites at the cherry, so you can actually lose a game and still win the HBL PSL 7. So that's what they built up to. That's what they've done. And yes, all that big record now, it has to transform into a trophy. At the end, nobody will remember this. Well, we will remember this record because stats are thrown at us always, but nobody will remember the runner-up. Nobody will remember who came into the qualifiers. It's all about being the champion, and they are defending champions. The way that they played, remember last time around, Islamabad United almost had a similar run, and they lost both playoffs.
Yep. Okay, let's talk about the level A moment. A bit tough today because of the low scoring game. So what really changed the game's course? I think it was the 5 wickets that Islamabad lost up front. They were 64 for 5 at one point. Level A moment.
Herrera was the first one to go down, so it was just 9 on the board when he departed. The second was Liam Dawson. The third was Nasir. Azam Khan was always going to be a big wicket. I thought they bowled very nicely to him when he first arrived. But he went, just scored 8 off 18 balls. And then the fifth was Asif Ali, which was a huge wicket. And this was a blinder, an absolute blinder. Ah, no, it wasn't. Not that one. Azam Khan was the blinder, Masood.
And when you actually got a low-scoring game, then probably the bowlers are ruling everything, and that's how it has been. Player of the match is Imran Tahir. Yet once again, for Multan Sultans, 2 for 8 in his 4 overs.
Yeah, when there's a bit of spin on offer, then he's a handful. The first one, he sort of floated up, and the length was perfect because the ball's not really coming onto the bat, and that's why it went straight up in the air, didn't go the distance, and this was beautiful bowling again. Whenever the batters have tried to hit down the ground, he's been able to just drag the length back. And it was throughout the spell that his length throughout the spell was perfect according to the pitch, because it was holding the pitch and spinning a bit. But the one thing he now has, he has competition with the celebration. The Hani and now Tim David as well.
Oh, Tim David as well.
Yeah, Tim David. just on Tahir briefly, I mean, just one thing that I've seen that I don't think I've seen him do before, he's bowling to a specific plan to the left-handed batsman, and he's always worried about on the shorter grounds, and some of these grounds have been a little on the short side, some of the boundaries, and he's just taking out the leg side totally and bowling wide of that off stump all the time, and also bowling the wrong ones, and that's why he's getting catches in those sort of regions on the offside with them not picking the wrong one, which it's not the easiest, not the most difficult wrong one to pick, but some of the guys aren't picking it. That's it's good thinking.
And then when you talk about his immaculate lens and understanding what the pitch is doing and the target in this case being the batters, he's also had an amazing thing in terms of variation in speed. Have a look at this. He's understood what's required over here. And just run us through this. Have a look at these speeds over here, Mike.
All the quicker ones are the slider, basically, and the other ones, the slower ones, are the pitched up deliveries. That's a quick one. So the red are all the sliders. And that's the wrong one. It's a perfect example. I've been talking about the fact that he's bowling wide of the off stump to the left-handers and bowling wrong ones all the time. So you got the yellow ones. There it is. Those are wrong again. And trying to dip at that and almost got another wicket caught in the slip cordon, but not quite. But he always says that his slider is the most important delivery. He always says that's the one that he has to get right, and he feeds off that.
He understands who he's playing against. He knows Islamabad is going to try and hit him out of the park. So you suppose that he understands who is the match against, and then he decides how he's going to go about with his bowling?
I think it's more about the pitch where he has to bowl. We've seen in this HBL PSL that he's been able to slow it up. Normally he doesn't bowl slow. On true wickets, you'll see him just bowl those zooters, the slider, the googly. But here he takes the batsman wide, he slows it up. Even when he got hit by Fakhar Zaman and then got him out, he drew him wide and slowed it up. So the variations is maybe because of the pitches that he comes across, and he's using them really well.
Just very briefly, one thing he always says when he comes and plays franchise games these days, he's 42 years of age, he's now played for 51 teams around the world.
Only.
He makes sure that he spends so much time physically training and also training for his art that he competes with the younger guys all the time. He says he wants to make sure he looks as young as them. Maybe that's not quite working at this stage, but he's fitness-wise, he's never been super fit, but he's as good as he ever has been as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's working for him in terms of performances, and congratulations to Imran Tahir, meaning the player of the match. Time for a break. When we come back, we have the Master Blaster and the Shining player lined up for you. Well, 29 matches have been played in the HBL PSL 7. One more to go in the round stage, and then we get into the playoffs. Okay, so you talk about consistency, and you got to say Rizwan. Mohammad Rizwan has been so good up in the order for Multan Sultans, and he was our Master Blaster today. Have a look.
He's the engine of the team, simple as that, just goes about things. He knew exactly what we wanted to do. That was a very good shot with strong wrist down the ground, but it was all about just working the ball around the place and just picking up the ones and twos and just making sure that he kept that scoreboard just ticking over nicely and winning the game.
51 of 42. Let's have a look at the leading run getters in the HBL PSL 7. Fakhr Zaman still is right up there, but Rizwan is catching up, 479 compared to 521.
Yeah, but it was interesting the way that he batted. I mentioned this on air. Now that T20 cricket has evolved, it used to be, well, West Indies were ahead of the curve at a period of time where they used to hit a lot of boundaries and win the game that way. Now it's developed as in you need players who can absorb pressure, the same player, and then explode, or go quickly at first and then adapt. And it's now the blueprint of an actual T20 batter to be able to do both roles. I mentioned Joss Butler and his fantastic 100 in Sharjah. That was one of the very best T20I innings. So Rizwan does the same.
It's a bit unfair when you look at that. I mean, 4 out of 5 are openers, apart from Shoaib Malik, so you're bound to get more balls and score more runs.
Well, Shadab was there as well, wasn't he? He wasn't on that list?
No. It was Shoaib Malik, Shan Masood, Rizwan, Fakhr Zaman, Babar Azam.
Okay, yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah, well, I mean, I think if you're a T20 player, you want to score a lot of runs, you've got to get right at the top there. And if you're in the top 3, you're a reasonable chance, I think, to get as many runs as possible if you're in form. And I think all the guys on that list have played superbly. I think Shan Masood has been really good, the way he's gone about it and the way he's evolved his game and really made it work for him. I think that's been really impressive.
Well, look at what you're talking about, Imran Tahir and his immaculate lens. There's another bowler from Multan Sultan. He's got a lot of experience. He's a shining player, and he's Asif Afridi and his 2 wickets.
Yeah, he knows exactly the length to bowl, and very clever that way. Doesn't spin the ball, just lets it drift back in. But the changes, subtle changes in pace and the subtle changes in length make him very difficult to get after. And on a pitch where the ball's stopping a little, he was immaculate. I think very consistent the way he goes about it and watches the batsman like a hawk.
But why hasn't he played all along? I mean, I saw him with you blokes in the National T20. Why was he not in the lineup from the start?
I'm not too sure. I think it just goes under the radar. As a left-arm spinner in white ball cricket especially, he's very good. You bowl him in the power play, he knows exactly the length to reach the batsman, very quick to sort of shorten the length or bowl full. We haven't seen him bowl the Yorker. He's very good with the Yorker as well, if you remember in the National T20.
Yeah. Would you put him in the same category as Zulfikar Babar or Abdur Rahman, or you'd say that's a different format that they were good in?
I think Zulfikar Babar was probably the best out of the lot because he bowled beautifully in the longer format. He was always challenging. Abdur Rahman to an extent, yes, but I think Asif Afridi comes to the fore in the white ball, limited over cricket where he's very effective. Is slightly more, not a wicket taker in 4-day cricket, whereas those two used to run through, and if they got the chance, they got wickets in the longer format as well.
I think if you're a T20 captain, he's your banker. I mean, you can always rely on him. That's a huge bonus.
Yep. Okay, so when you get into a match, you look to dismiss the key player, the guy who's going to go after you. Azam Khan in today's case, and what a catch that was by Shan Masood in safe hands.
This was a remarkable catch. Coming forward, diving full length, getting his fingers underneath that, and the replay showed that it was absolutely no problem with the catch. So it was a terrific grab. There's only one thing I didn't particularly like, and that was the fact that Douny went racing to the crowd rather than racing straight to him, because that should have that's a wicket that should have gone straight to Shan Masood. But a magnificent catch.
Yeah, he's got to find a new direction. He doesn't understand. I don't know who's there in that stand.
I have no idea.
We've got to find Aleem Dar. We've got to find Aleem Dar and make him stop.
Make him stop.
Cut him off.
All right, guys, we'll take a break. Where should we be? Yeah, right here. Okay, so time for a break. When we come back, we'll have a look at follow wickets. Not many today, but they were important ones. Welcome back to the pitchside studio. We're talking about match 29, Islamabad versus Multan. If you talk about follow wickets, Islamabad lost more, 7 of them. They batted first, and they scored 105. So Basit and Mike will run us through how they lost their wickets. Let's have a look.
You started off with Herrera trying to go over the top straight to the man. Again, the length, brilliant by Asif Afridi. This was tad unlucky down the leg side. And then Imran Tahir slowing it up, and it went high in the sky, really with the catch. This was magnificent from Shan Masood. Brilliant catch diving forward. Enjoyed that. And then Asif Afridi again. Just that length. Asif Ali trying to clear the field, and he couldn't get a chance.
And then Danish Aziz was popping one up, and then he was on his way. Very frustrated. And Tim David of Tahir celebrating again. That was the last of the 7.
We saw the fall of wickets here. Now, let's go back to the first wicket that fell. That was of Mohammad Huraira. I want to bring in Bazid over here. He scored a triple century in first class. And I mean, I'm going to get your opinion on this. You think that he's somewhere out of his comfort zone over here, trying to come down the wicket? We really don't know what he's made of in terms of white ball.
It's his first match, and it wasn't particularly the best wicket, best pitch of this HBL PSL. He's more of a touch player, and you wanted, once you sort of come into a T20 game, you want one boundary or a couple of boundaries straight off the bat, and then you can start flowing. I thought they bowled really well, and also the fact that because the ball wasn't coming on, he had to manufacture something which is not his game. He's more of a touch player, like, for instance, Babar. And maybe on another day, if the pitch was coming onto the bat, he would have been able to score. This is Dawson. This is a really unlucky dismissal, and this probably triggered the collapse because he was going pretty well.
Yeah, you're just talking about I think he was caught at mid-off, and he was trying to attack the bowler and try to get there. But yeah, of course, good player, and he'll have more of his opportunities and trying to prove himself, his worth. He got his opportunity today, and we wish him best of luck. Let's have a look at the fastest delivery, and Mashant Dilanga. He's bowled well in the last 5 as well. We'll bring you in, Mike. So 140 is what he's bowled today, and let's join him.
He's one of those guys who watch very closely, Mashant Dilanga, because he does a lot of things wrong. It's not a particularly long run-up. He bowls from pretty close to the umpire as well. There's the speeds coming across. There's 140 clocking up, consistently 140. He was, at one stage, consistently clocking about the 150 kph mark when he was playing for South Africa and was bowling at the death and doing a really good job with his Yorkers. But he's a wholehearted performer. I've always liked the way he's gone about his cricket. He's also very good in a change room environment as well, and very keen to help any youngsters coming through and that sort of stuff. So it's good to see him get a run today, and he was in the side yesterday only because Hassan Ali, after the toss, got injured, which was quite interesting. So suddenly he was drafted in, so good to see him bowl that pace again today.
Yeah. We're talking about bowlers, and it was a bowler's day out in the second game especially. Impressive, Liam Dawson being given the new ball, and could be a handy player if the pitches are going to be like that. 3 for 16 in his 4 overs, Bazit.
Yeah, again, the length has been impressive with the spinners. If you're just bowling it slightly short of a length, it is that length that's troubling most players. And with that new ball, it's going to, some spin and some don't. Again, because of the fact that it's not right up there, he's caused the players to miscue, and he's been consistent with the length and bowled really well. Didn't spin it too much, but got the ball to skid on, which was his wicket-taking delivery.
Well, before I say thank you to Mike Haseman, I'd just like to ask you, so we were to pick a team in the playoffs, leave Multan aside, which one would that be?
Sorry, if I was to?
Pick a team in the playoffs besides Multan.
Lahore. I actually think Lahore are going to win.
Not Karachi.
Well, hang on a second. Let me think about that.
Playoff. Yeah, it's been the double-header. Don't blame me.
I'm backing Lahore to win.
Lahore.
Yep.
Okay. We got one more game in the round. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure. See you then.
Break time. When we come back, we have Marina right here in the pitchside studio. एकदम एंटी क्लाइमैक्स हो गया. हम सोच रहे थे इस्लामाबाद है, मुल्तान है, कुछ जबरदस्त शॉट्स लगेंगे.
टूर्नामेंट में 1-2 मैच ऐसे हो ही जाते हैं जो बिल्कुल ही आपकी एक्सपेक्टेशन से अगेंस्ट चले जाते हैं. लेकिन अगेन मैं पहले मैच, सुबह वाले मैच में भी यही बात कर रहे थे कि पिच डिफरेंट है, तो बीइंग प्रोफेशनल इससे क्या चीज़ निकाली जा सकती है. और आई थिंक ठीक है, बड़ा टारगेट नहीं था, लेकिन रिजवान ने जिस तरह की इनिंग्स खेली है वो एक मैसेज था. इस्लामाबाद यूनाइटेड ने वो चीज़ मिस की. उन्होंने हालांकि पहली गेम देखी भी होगी, बट हिटिंग नहीं हो रही थी. तो फिर आपका प्लान बी क्या होता है बीइंग ए प्रोफेशनल? जो आप कंट्रोल कर सकते हो वो आपने करना है, और वो जहाँ पे मुल्तान ने किया कंट्रोल जो एक्सपेक्टेड था वो आराम से जीत गए.
चलिए, गुड. अब बात करते हैं बाउंड्रीज की, और टिम डेविड की बात करेंगे, जिन्होंने सिर्फ इस मैच में नहीं बल्कि HBL PSL 7 के काफ़ी मैचेस में मुल्तान सुल्तान के लिए बड़ी ज़बरदस्त हिट्स लगाई हैं.
देखिए, 6 फुट 5 इंच गालबन इनका कद है, जो लीवर्स जिसको कहते हैं बहुत ही लंबे हैं. बैट स्विंग इनका बहुत ज़बरदस्त है. जो ये शॉर्ट ऑफ लेंथ बॉल है उस पर बैट स्विंग ऑलमोस्ट बेसबॉल स्विंग है, और आप इनके सारे स्विंग देखेंगे तो एक फ्लो में जाता है स्विंग, और बहुत ही बड़ा एक स्विंग है. तो ये जो सारा पावर इनको मिलता है, एक तो लंबे हाथ है, लंबी रीच है, प्लस जो इनका बैट फ्लो है, जो उसका पूरा एक दायरा बनता है वो बहुत ही बड़ा है. इस वजह से ही टॉप ऑफ द लिस्ट है. 20 छक्के ऑफ साइड पे भी एक्स्ट्रा कवर के ऊपर से भी मार रहे हैं, बीच वाले बॉल को भी मार रहे हैं। लेकिन आप देखें इस लिस्ट में शादाब खान भी हैं जिन्होंने 16 छक्के लगाए हैं और अभी काफ़ी मैचेस से वो खेले नहीं हैं। तो इस्लामाबाद यूनाइटेड को कितना फ़र्क पड़ा है। लेकिन टिम डेविड की जो खुसूसियत यही है कि बॉल तक पहुंच जाते हैं और जब उनके लिए लीवर्स चलते हैं तो फिर कोई भी ग्राउंड उनके लिए बड़ा नहीं है। दूसरी बात यह है कि आज एक पोस्टर भी था कि इनको पाकिस्तानी नेशनैलिटी दी जाए। ये सिंगापुर से खेले हैं, शायद अब ऑस्ट्रेलिया से खेलेंगे। ऑस्ट्रेलिया के बाद फिर शायद चांस है कि पाकिस्तान से भी खेल लें।
उनसे पूछे तो है उन्हें चाहिए कि नहीं।
ऑस्ट्रेलिया से पहले दे दे नेशनैलिटी।
अच्छा ये बताएं मुझे, टिम डेविड की इन्होंने बात की, ना सिर्फ इनके बड़े छक्के, आज सबसे बड़ा इन्होंने लगाया शॉट 93 मीटर्स का। इनकी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी बैटिंग ऑर्डर में भी 3 पे भी खेल चुके हैं, नीचे इन दी ऑर्डर भी खेल चुके हैं, तो कैप्टन के लिए एक जबरदस्त टूल है एक बैटिंग ऑर्डर में।
बिल्कुल ऐसा है, और ऐसे फ्लेक्सिबल अगर प्लेयर्स हो आपके पास तो T20 फॉर्मेट में और आसानी हो जाती है, कोई इशू नहीं रहता। और आज हालांकि काफी स्लो पिच था, फिर भी सबसे लंबा छक्का इन्होंने मारा। एक चीज ये है कि इनकी गेम अवेयरनेस अच्छी है, अपनी बॉलर्स पिक करते हैं, और अगर नहीं स्ट्रेंथ पे बॉलिंग हो रही तो थोड़ा सा लेग साइड से नीचे खड़े हो जाते हैं। फिर वो सर्च करते हैं कि मेरी स्टंप्स में कोई अटैक करेगा बॉलर्स जो कि करने जाते हैं, या आउटसाइड ऑफ स्टंप हो तो फिर मैं उसको एक्सप्लॉइट करूँ। तो गेम अवेयरनेस है, हमेशा बॉल का वेट भी करते हैं। आज वेट करके खेला है छक्के, फिर इन्होंने भी मारे, टाइम भी किया जो आज बहुत कम बैटर्स में नजर आया। तो ये ओवरऑल एक बड़ा अच्छा पैकेज है और सेंसिबल क्रिकेटर है, ये नहीं है कि बस आके छक्के मारने जा रहे हैं।
चलिए, छक्के मारने वाले सेंसिबल नहीं होते। चले आइए फैन ऑफ द डे की बात करेंगे। तो आज डबल हेडर था और काफी लोग आए इस्लामाबाद को, मुल्तान, कराची, क्वेटा, सबको देखने के लिए। एंजॉय किया उन्होंने। HBL PSL यानी बिल्कुल पाकिस्तान सुपर लीग के बहुत सारे फैंस हैं, अलग अलग गेटअप्स में लोग आए, और ये मखसूस लोग जो हर मैच में पाकिस्तान को भी सपोर्ट करते हैं, HBL PSL में भी, मुल्तान का सपोर्ट भी, लाहौर वाले भी। ब्रिलियंट। लोग कहते क्या हैं, आइए उनको सुनते हैं।
सुल्तान को मैं सपोर्ट करी थी और उन्होंने आज बहुत अच्छा प्ले किया। तो मेरा फेवरेट जो उसमें था वो मोहम्मद रिजवान है एज ऑलवेज।
जी मैं इस्लामाबाद को सपोर्ट करने के लिए आया था और जैसा उन्होंने आज खेला मायूस हूँ थोड़ा सा, लेकिन पूरी उम्मीद भी हूँ कि इंशाल्लाह आगे परफॉर्मेंस अच्छी करेगी। लेकिन 3 प्लेयर जाने की वजह से उसकी वजह से कम डाउन होता रहता है। लेकिन जिस तरह से आई टीम खेली है 70 पे 7 आउट, बहुत दुख है आज का।
मैं मुल्तान का अप्रिशिएट करती हूँ कि उन्होंने अच्छा खेला और मैं बहुत ज्यादा खुशी इसलिए तो इतना ज्यादा मैं बाजा बजा रही हूँ।
इस्लामाबाद को हम सपोर्ट करने आए थे, कसम से हमारा दिल टूट गया, ऐसे दिल टूटे ऐसे, कसम से इतना बड़ा सपोर्टर हूँ मैं, सबका बड़ा फैन शादाब खान का था, उसने म्यूज किया
मुझे वो अच्छा लगा, इतनी तो बाजा बजा रही थी। आई लाइक दैट। चले ब्रेक ले लेते हैं, ब्रेक के बाद आएंगे, कुछ आपको फील्डिंग दिखाते हैं। वेलकम बैक टू द पिच साइड स्टूडियो। इस्लामाबाद यूनाइटेड और मुल्तान सुल्तान जब खेल रहे हो तो आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं, क्योंकि दोनों बहुत ही अच्छी फील्डिंग साइड है, तो फील्डिंग शानदार दिखेगी। आइए चेक करते हैं।
ये रनआउट्स की आज काफी अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिली थी, लेकिन ये ग्राउंड फील्डिंग अच्छी की थी। इमरान ताहिर आज बहुत एक्शन में नजर आए और उसके बाद एप्रिसिएशन भी रिजवान से उन्होंने ली। आज बॉल इनके पीछे लगा हुआ था, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है, लेकिन ओवरऑल बहुत अच्छा यूनिट है मुल्तान का, और इस्लामाबाद भी डिसेंट फील्डर्स हैं इनके पास। कुछ यंगस्टर्स आज ऐड हुए थे तो थोड़ा ओवरऑल एक पुश मिल गया था फील्डिंग में। एफर्ट्स अच्छे करते रहे,
बिल्कुल अच्छे करते रहे। हम ऊप्स मोमेंट की बात करेंगे, मैं बातें सब कह रहा हूँ, ये क़यामत की निशानी है। रिजवान ने कैच ड्रॉप किया है, ताहिर भी हैं, आइए देखते हैं।
ये गालिबन इमरान ताहिर हैं और जितनी अच्छी वो फील्डिंग कर रहे थे शायद उस पर एक्सपेक्टेशन पे आपने उपस्मरण बनाया है, क्योंकि पीछे भागते हुए आसान नहीं होता। और रिजवान इतने हाई क्वालिटी कीपर हैं कि शायद ये कैच आप कह सकते हैं शायद उप्स मोमेंट है, लेकिन अगर आम तौर पे कोई नॉर्मल सा कीपर हो, मतलब रिजवान की क्वालिटी का ना हो, तो वो यहाँ तक पहुँचता भी ना। लेकिन वो ज़रूर सोच रहे होंगे कि ये एक अपॉर्चुनिटी मिस।
इनको चाहिए थर्ड मैन फाइनल को बोलते हैं कि दूर रखो। ये पहले दानी भी इनके हाथ टकराए थे कि भाई मैं आ जाऊंगा, वहां तक पहुंच जाऊंगा। आई थिंक वो ज्यादा बेटर है।
ये बैटिंग में भी ऐसे ही करते हैं, जब बल्ले पे बॉल लगता है तो भाग पड़ते हैं, तो वो दूसरा जो बैट्समैन है या बैटर है उसको बहुत जरूरी है कि वो इसके साथ भागे। शान मसूद ही भाग सकते हैं, कोई और आ जाए तो बस तखीर कर देते हैं।
रिजवान का ड्रॉप की जिम्मेदारी खुद है। इन्होंने इस बॉल से पहले ही तारीफ की थी कि बहुत कम ओकेजन ऐसे होता है कि रिजवान ड्रॉप कर, अगली बॉल पे ड्रॉप कर।
इन्होंने बहुतों को नजर लगाई है।
इसका तो मतलब है कि रिजवान को रन भी नहीं बनाने चाहिए।
नजर लगा दी।
आइए ब्रेक लेंगे, ब्रेक के बाद वापस आके मुल्तान सुल्तान की जीत की खुशी देखेंगे। वेलकम बैक वंस अगेन। HBL PSL 7 में इस बार पहली बार ऐसा हुआ है कि कोई एक टीम 10 में से 9 बार जीत की खुशी बनाए, वो है मुल्तान सुल्तान। आई थिंक इस एडिशन में अभी तक कोई ऐसा गलत फैसला दिखा नहीं है इनका, और अगर हुआ भी है तो उस प्लेयर ने परफॉर्म कर दिया। कोई चेंज अगर लाए भी हैं, चाहे राइल रूसो हो, डेविड विली आए ब्रेक के बाद, रिजवान खुद परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, शान मसूद, आसिफ आफरीदी को लाए, वो भी शानदार दिखे। तो मतलब अब शोएब मकसूद आ सकते हैं, वो अवेलेबल हो जाएंगे, तो अल्लाह का शुक्र है। बिल्कुल। चलिए, तो आखिरी मैच राउंड का होम टीम खेलेगी, यानी लाहौर कलंदर्स पेशावर ज़ल्मी के खिलाफ। क्वालिफिकेशन का मसला नहीं, पोजीशंस डिसाइड होंगी कौन कहां फिनिश करेगा प्लेऑफ्स में, और हम आपकी खिदमत में आएंगे शाम 6:30 बजे इस शो के साथ। चलिए जल्दी से बात कर लेते हैं, स्टार्ट करते हैं बाजिद से। बाजिद, लाहौर कलंदर्स की तो काफी बात हुई है, लेकिन पेशावर ज़ल्मी के कुछ इश्यूज हो जाएंगे अवेलेबिलिटीज पे। कैसा देख रहे हैं उनको कल के इस मैच में? कल के विन लॉस उनकी पोजीशन बताएगा प्लेऑफ में।
देखिए, लिविंगस्टन का जाना एक बहुत बड़ा उनको धचका है, क्योंकि वो बॉलिंग भी कर लेते हैं, बैटिंग तो खैर है ही है, रदरफोर्ड भी नहीं है, तो ये मिडिल ऑर्डर जिस तरह शेप करेंगे वो बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग होगा। शायद हैदर अली वापस आए, मलिक तो हैं ही हैं, हुसैन तलत बड़ी अच्छी बैटिंग करें, लेकिन पेशावर ज़ल्मी की ये बात है कि किसी तरीके से एंड में आके ये अपनी सबसे अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस देती है और प्ले ऑफ्स में पहुंच ही जाते हैं, और अब ऐसा लग रहा है कि शायद पीक सही टाइम पे कर रहे हैं।
पेशावर ज़ल्मी हमेशा एक बॉलिंग साइड के तौर पे मानी गई है, जानी गई है, लेकिन इस बार कैसा दिख रहे हैं इनको प्लेऑफ में? वहाब लीड कर रहे हैं एस कप्तान विद बॉल।
देखिए, बैलेंस हो गया है और कॉम्बिनेशंस कहीं ना कहीं सेट हो रहे हैं। अब ये दो इनको लॉसेस होंगे, लेकिन फिर भी आई थिंक पावर प्ले वाला इशू मोहम्मद हारिस के आने से कवर हो गया। ज़ज़ई को थोड़ा बेहतर आना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि आगे टीम्स और बॉलिंग अटैक फील्डिंग जो है वो बहुत अच्छी होने वाली है, तो उनको थोड़ा सा अपना रोल अब पुट अप करना पड़ेगा। मिडिल में मलिक आ जाते हैं, हुसैन तलत को यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं। हैदर अली के लिए क्रूशियल है कि वो भी अगर आके अपनी ए गेम खेलते हैं तो फिर पेशावर को और ज़्यादा सपोर्ट मिल जाती है। बॉलिंग तो अब कहीं ना कहीं मोमेंटम इनकी पकड़ रही है।
सुपर मरीना बाजिद, सर्दी बढ़ गई है, अब चलते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच। हो गया डबल हेडर। कल होगी मुलाकात शाम 6:30 बजे, क्योंकि है कल आखिरी मैच राउंड का, लाहौर कलंदर वर्सेस पेशावर ज़ल्मी। अपना ख्याल रखिए। गुड नाइट टू एवरीवन।